Happy Carnival, Who Dat Nation. I know New Orleans is already partying. They're looking at this halftime score, and they might be partying a little harder. It's the Saints News Network halftime show, the final one of the regular season. Myself, Brendan Boylan, along with my guy, Bob Rose. And Bob, in the pregame, we talked about this New Orleans Saints defense. They needed to step up. They needed to play better than that first matchup back in November. Maybe not so impressive those first few drives, but a big Paulson Adebo interception, and then props to Quan Alexander for not giving up on that play, because I certainly would have thought Davis was down by contact. Malcolm Jenkins did as well, but that turned into a big turnover. The Saints capitalized into 7 points. There you go. Saints defense, 75 yards allowed in the first half, a sack, an interception, and a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. Bob, your analysis of the defense in the first half.
Well, just before we came onto the air, I was telling you that I actually wasn't overly impressed with the defense. I didn't think they were playing poorly, just sort of middle of the road. What I did notice, before those last couple drives, was that the New Orleans defense, was really fired up in pursuit. And when you do that, you're bound to make some plays. And then, like you said, you saw a terrific individual athletic play by Paulson Adebo on that interception. And then Malcolm Jenkins. We're starting to see the Saints really get aggressive at the line of scrimmage. And that's what caused that fumble on the hit for Mike Davis, which was a play that was a reception and went for negative yards in the first place. So right out of the gate, Jenkins made one heck of a play, and then to cause the fumble and Quan Alexander to be Johnny on the spot and grab that ball. The Saints are playing with a lot of momentum right now. Let's hope they can keep it up.
Well, let's look at the offensive stats. We'll first start with Taysom Hill, who exited the game in the second quarter. He was 7 of 9 for 107, 5 carries for 18 yards. I thought Hill was actually playing a pretty solid ball game before he left with injury. Trevor Siemian came in as the replacement, 4 of 7 for 22 yards, but 2 scores for Trevor Siemian. And if you were watching the broadcast, the first time in franchise history, the Saints had 2 separate quarterbacks throw for at least 10 touchdowns in a season. And then Alvin Kamara has not caught a pass yet today, or just one, rather, but 13 touches for 75 yards for Kamara. And the Saints offense, though they've been gifted some good field position, have looked okay. And I want to get to some of these comments. Our good buddy Scoob, could Trevor be our Nick Foles? I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but some wishful thinking. And Bob, it looks like you made a bet. You might have to pay up. D says that you're gonna have to buy some dinner. So the Saints playing well, and I think the most important part of it, obviously taking care of your own business. But how about this out of town scoreboard? The Niners down by 2 scores to the Los Angeles Rams. Bob, obviously taking care of your own business is the most important thing here, but how encouraging is it to see the Rams really taking care of business, holding their own, and up with a big lead out at home against the Niners in a game they must win to win their division?
Yeah, that's the thing. Los Angeles needs either an Arizona loss or a win themselves to secure their division title and the number 2 seed themselves. So they have a lot to play for too. And Arizona and Seattle, last I checked, it was a 1-score game. You hate for your fate to be in the hands of somebody else. Just ask New Orleans, ask Los Angeles, ask San Francisco. They'll all echo those sentiments. But I think the Saints are doing a nice job of keeping focused in their game. Let's hope that the Rams don't wilt in the second half. A couple scores up on the 49ers. You hope that Sean McVay and that LA team stays aggressive. But obviously our focus is on New Orleans and staying aggressive as well. And D, I don't remember the bet, but I'd be happy to buy you dinner, love.
Scoob also asks, is Ramczyk giving our line a big boost or what? Absolutely. Bob and I talked about in the pregame that, in my opinion at least, getting Ramczyk was more important than getting Armstead back, especially with the way the Saints were playing with a run-heavy offense with Taysom Hill. I think that's still the case with Trevor Siemian in this one as well. Well, Bob, the Falcons deferred, so they're going to get the ball to start the second half. They find themselves down big. What do the Saints have to do to make sure they walk away from Mercedes-Benz Stadium with a win today?
You need to watch the plays downfield. I look for Matt Ryan, hoping his protection holds up. I look for Matt Ryan to take a few shots down the field, probably right away in the second half. We saw them start to do that, and they did have one or two successful plays. The Falcons did, to set up a couple of field goals. So the Saints have to guard against that. I think Marshawn Lattimore is quietly playing a terrific game. Just as we alluded to in the pregame show, a couple of times I saw Kyle Pitts lined up outside, and who was on him? Marshawn Lattimore. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is playing a whale of a game. Demario Davis, Quan are all over the place. And you talked about getting interior pressure on Matty Ice. And we've seen that with both Shy Tuttle and David Onyemata a couple of times. And on third down plays, they've been moving Davenport inside. So I look for that to continue as well. The Saints need to win the battle at the line of scrimmage, and to prevent those downfield shots from Matt Ryan, you need to get pressure on him. So look for that right out of the gate in the third quarter.
Well, in the words of Cameron Jordan in his postgame interview following the win against Carolina, you stop the run, you get to have some fun. The D-line knows the rules. The Saints have done a great job against the run thus far. I expect to see some more of that. Before we head out, again, the Saints needing a win and needing a Rams win out in LA. And D also says that the bet came all the way back from the first show. So for Bob and I, that seems like 2.5 years ago. I think Sean even made that comment the other day. This season's felt like 2.5 years.
I've gotten a lot grayer, so.
Oh, man. Well, we appreciate every single one of you for hanging out with us all year, the pregame and the halftime. Knock on wood, if these results hold, we will be seeing you for Wild Card Weekend next week. But again, knock on wood. The Saints still have to take care of some business in Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, and the Rams still got to take care of business out on the West Coast. Bob, real quick, where can everybody follow you and follow our work as we give some post-game analysis on this one?
Folks, you can follow me on Facebook. Just look for Bob Rose. I'm over on Twitter at BobbyR2613. And as always, you can follow Brendan, myself, John Hendricks, Kyle Mosley at the Saints News Network, at Saints News on Twitter, or the SI.com team page where we handle all of the New Orleans Saints coverage for Sports Illustrated.
And for myself, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram over at BT Boylan. As Bob said, you can follow all of our work over with the Saints News Network. You see it scrolling there on the bottom. Just type in saints.media. We're in for a fun second half and a second half full of scoreboard watching. We hope you guys have enjoyed the season. Bob, my friend, it's our first year together doing this. I really enjoyed it. And I think we could say we're going to ink up for next year as well. But before we look into next year, like I said, we might have one next week and maybe a couple more to follow. Guys, head to Saints News Network after the game for our post-game analysis. Bob, my friend, it's been a lot of fun.
Double B, I ain't ready to say goodbye yet, so we'll hold off on saying goodbyes and and our kudos for our pregame and halftime shows.
Absolutely. We hope to see you here next week. Guys, enjoy the second half, and we'll see you then, hopefully.